Hi children, welcome back to our channel Rise and Shine. Dear students, in yesterday's episode we saw the brought up of Sivaji. So now we know what he was in future. And so in the past, how he was brought up is an example to all of us, because we are able to see his past as well as what he became in the future. So all the good values that he learned made him a Chatrapathi. So now he was well known in the whole world. So he was a great king. So, brought up is very important in every child's life. The way they are brought up will play a good role. It plays an important role. So, now from 1630 to 1646, that was 16 days, and Sivaji, born in 1630 till 1646, he was trained in such a manner. Within 16 years, he had the responsibility of ruling. He became conscious that he was responsible. And so he started collecting his army of men from the agriculturists, the families of agriculturists. He selected some of them as his supporters, and he started making a small army. The forefathers of Sivaji also did the same thing. They were good warriors. They had an army and they rented their army to the sultans and the Mughals, whoever were in need. So in those days, they used to do that. Private people had armies, and they had armies of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 like that according to their capacity, and they trained the people like warriors or soldiers. And when any king wanted an army, they rented these people and they worked for them, they fought for them. So that was what Shivaji's forefathers did. And Shivaji's father also was a great warrior, and he worked for the sultans and the Mughal emperors. Now, as Sivaji was away, the entire administration and the caretaking of Sivaji fell on Dadaji Kondadev and Shivaji's mother. So, now when Sivaji was 16, he started his duty, and that was he conquered fort after fort. He had 1,000 members as his army. He trained them, and a fort after fort he started occupying. So Sivaji invaded the fort. So first he started the fort of Torna, and then Chakkan, and then Kondana. These forts he was able to capture. He was able to control or bring them under his control by bribing the generals of, Adil Shahi. So after that, he took over the control over Thane, Kalyan, Bhiwandi forts also. So, for this, in those days, for a king to have his or set up his own kingdom, they had three that were conditions that if they want to set up a kingdom, they should have these following. That was three important, yes, conditions. Where number one was these kingdoms should be far away from the centers of the sultans or the Mughal emperors. It should be far away. And number two was there should not be any agriculture around them. Agriculture land should not be there. And the third one was there should be forest around the kingdoms. That was the condition and it was a rule. So, now when Shivaji wanted to go fort after fort, so he thought he could establish an empire only when he wanted to conquer fort after fort. So, in that way, he conquered, by the end of his lifetime, he conquered nearly 300 forts from Nasik to Chennai. And do you know what method he followed? He followed the method of guerrilla war, and that was giving sudden attacks from above the mountains or from behind the rocks or from the among the trees. So that was the war which was conducted by Shivaji, giving sudden attacks. So for this, Sivaji trained 1,000 people and they were used to fight with the sultans or the Mughals. So he wanted to conquer fort after fort. So a fort was such like it had a great wall around, and always these were above mountains in an elevated plain where there was water all around. It was difficult for the enemies to enter. And do you know, later Shivaji was one among the kings who had built so many forts impenetrable by enemies. They were very strong forts, and Shivaji was known to have been built such forts. Now children, you can see Shivaji here heading with some of his men to invade the forts, and he used to conquer these forts, and whatever wealth he got from there, he used to use that wealth to improve his army, to develop the arms for his army, that is the weapons. He used to use that wealth, the money. In those days, it was gold, silver, gems and all what they brought from the loot. Okay, children? So, he waged wars. Sometimes they had birangis, but Shivaji had only little weapon. Some were horsemen, some had elephants, and some cavalry, that were the men on foot, soldiers on foot. So, soldiers on foot, soldiers on horses, and soldiers on elephants. So, in that way, Shivaji trained his army. So, fort after fort, he started invading. So, starting, he had only 3 forts, but by the end of his life, he had captured 300 forts. So, day by day, Shivaji was improving. Shivaji became a great Maratha king. He was becoming powerful day by day. So, when, see, these are the forts of Torna, the fort of, yes, Chakan, and the fort of Kondana. These were the first forts conquered by Sivaji. And next he conquered the fort of Thane, then the fort of Kalyan, and then the fort of Bhiwandi. So, like this, Shivaji conquered so many forts and he became powerful day after day. So, but do you know, children, Shivaji did not destroy any temple, mosque, or anything. He did not. Yes, he respected women folk. He did not trouble them. He had his own rules. So, he did not do any harm to women and children. So, that was his rule. He did not allow any of his men to harm them. So, all the people, wherever he was, they loved him. Shivaji had a great respect from the people. So, Shivaji was able to become a great king who was respected by all. Now, while Shivaji was becoming powerful, the Begum of Bijapur, she was worried. So, they sent Afzal Khan with 10,000 soldiers to defeat Shivaji. And in tomorrow's episode, we will see how Shivaji fought with Afzal Khan. Okay, children? So today, let me end my episode here. And in tomorrow's episode, we will see how Shivaji fought with Afzal Khan. Okay, children? Bye. Love you. Stay safe.